Hey there! Apologies if I look too pale, but I'm really trying out this blue lipstick thing. Um, I've been reading a lot of books lately, and I should review more of them. They're all on my Goodreads, so you can check it out down below. Um, but today one of them comes out, and I enjoyed it so much I thought I would review it for you guys. This book is Scorpio Hates Virgo by Anita Sunday. It's the second book with a novella in between in the Signs of Love series. It could be a standalone though. I have not read the first one. And it's basically about signs interacting with each other, but more than that, it's about people interacting with each other. It doesn't take the horoscope thing to the extreme. Plot. What is this book about? This book is about Percy, or Perseus, which is his full name. I love the character's name in this book. And he moves in to his aunt's house because his aunt died, Aunt Abby, which is not a character in the book, but she is ever present. Percy moves in this cul-de-sac, which means like it's a dead-end area, so it's few houses, but the neighbors all interact with each other. It was a huge dynamic of this book, and he moves in there, maybe wanting to sell, and his neighbor, who he has this thing where he says they're nemesis, and that's why the hate in the title, but it's not, it's apparent from the start that really they are just bantering with each other, and the sarcasm in this book is amazing. His boyfriend had just dumped him, so he is very cautious about relationships, but as things go and move forward, his crush on Cal develops more and more and more, and eventually they become sort of friends or environmentalists. So that's the plot in general. The characters. There is, as I said, Percy, who's the Scorpio in this title. He is a masseur. I really liked the jobs in this book. This is a new adult book, so also the characters aren't that young. They're mid-20s. There is also Cal or Callaghan, who lives next door to Percy's house. Currently not studying, but he used to study paleontology or Jurassic Park studies. So that was really super cool, and dinosaurs were featured in the book. And his family, the Clovers, of which there are two young girls, and they also play an important role in this book. There's also the other neighbors. Mostly there we see more of Marge, Carl's mother, and also Crystal, which is the mother of a protagonist in the first book, Theo. And she's the one that is always going on about horoscopes and stuff. All the other neighbors also feature. There is also a dog and a cat. The cat, I only saw the cat once in the book, but the cat is called Gingerbread, so it was really cute. Neighbors interact with each other, mostly because this is plot more in detail, maybe some spoilers. There is this thing where they do Santa every year, but someone had the idea to do a gnoming, Sherlock gnoming? I forgot what it's called. But this thing where everyone takes a gnome identity, GNOME, and they have to give gifts to each other without saying who they are, and at the end they have to guess who the others are. This is really good because Percy receives a lot of gifts for the house, and because in the start of the book his family had ransacked the house, there were a lot of things missing. Percy's and Cal's relationship. It goes from fake nemesis to hanging out with each other almost every day, probably it was every day, to maybe something more. They are super sarcastic. Every page I could not stop laughing. The comebacks that they come up with, I was always thinking, how does the author come up with this? And it's also slow burn, which this book it was really slow burn. And it gives you the right feels. I got this ebook on NetGalley. It was my first request accepted, so I wanted to read it before the publication and have a review out. So I took 9 pages of notes because it was so good. Let me read you some of those comebacks. Times like these, Percy wished he had glasses so he could continuously push them up with his middle finger. The writing was also, it wasn't just the sarcasm, the writing was good. For example, these are from the first few pages, so I'm not spoiling too much. Carl studied him like a paleontologist chiseling mud for dinosaur fossils. Analytical. I have a crazy awesome desert routine I indulge in whenever someone leaves me. Yes, Percy is he doesn't believe that people will stay with him. He was always the one that is left behind, and it's up to Cal to open him up a bit because he is just closed for business, but not really. And the last quote, this kind of proves a bit also why I like it, which will be the next part of the video. He and Cal would be non-nemesis. He refused to act on lust. One of the things that I liked about this book is the fact that yes, there was attraction, but they were not baseless animals. They actually had self-control and they did not act on lust purely. Another thing, bit of spoiler, I thought that this was straight until suddenly he discovers that they are gay or whatever trope, but it wasn't so. Cal had sort of figured out his sexuality and sexual orientation different. There is ace representation in this book, the end of the ace spectrum, so not asexual. There is sexual attraction, but on certain grounds. Cal is demi-pansexual, and he uses those words. That is rarer than dinosaurs, probably. It's. I was so happy, so happy about this. Another thing is, the dynamic in the relationship. They are both flexible. They both are okay with giving and receiving and in all kinds of aspects. They are there for each other even when they were nemesis. I can't stress enough how sarcastic this book was. It really made the experience so different. I get stuck on words, and the plot wasn't anything out of this world. It's about someone discovering themselves and discovering a new relationship and discovering their home, something that we all can say we want, whether it's something stable or something moving, that sense of belonging. Yeah. And the secondary characters also added to it. It wasn't just about these two and that's it. And it really brings home a sense of unity. The book also doesn't throw facts in there just to throw facts in there. At the end, it's like everything comes together. The random bits that we got to see here and here and here before were mentioned in a new light and all that. So there is a sense of cohesion to this writing, and the writing is really good. It's funny, it's detailed, it's refreshing. I took from this book was a sense of happiness, me constantly smiling, me constantly trying to sniffle laughs, and also the feeling that I really want to reread this book. And I'm also hoping for another novella, which also after the first book there was one. So at least I will get more of Cal and Percy. I did give this book a 5-star rating because of my experience while reading it. I was constantly happy. For now, that's it. I have a lot of links down below. I also have information of where you can purchase this book. I will be looking forward to reading more Anita Sunday because she made it up there with Emma Donoghue and Paul Waters as one of my favorites. And on NetGalley, there is a free to read book by her called True Color.